And I'd also note I thank you for your co-sponsorship of the major piece of legislation this committee passed out this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. All of us profess our allegiance to the Constitution. We do this because we're made free by God, but it is this document and our commitment to uphold it and its principles that keeps us free. I'm troubled that today we consider here a proposal, Senate Joint Resolution 19, that would considerably weaken the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. If we had an amendment to the Constitution that did this, if we amended the Constitution to give Congress relatively unfettered power to restrict the use of money to speak, the exercise of that power would unavoidably interfere with the ability of individuals to speak. Freedom of speech is not simply one among many liberties protected by the Bill of Rights. It is absolutely essential to the health of our republic. This is especially true of political speech, even when it contradicts the will of the prevailing order, especially when it contradicts the will of the prevailing order. As Justice Powell put it well in the Supreme Court's 1974 ruling in Gertz versus Welch, quote, under the First Amendment, there is no such thing as a false idea. However pernicious an opinion may seem, we depend for its correction not on the conscience of judges and juries, but on the competition of other ideas, close quote. But it doesn't take a complicated constitutional exposition to see what this proposed amendment is really about. It's about power. Giving that power to sitting members of Congress and taking it away from the American people, including, not coincidentally, any potential candidate who might like to challenge a sitting member of Congress. As we've seen in the unfolding scandal at the IRS, there is a permanent temptation facing those in power, whether Republicans or Democrats or members of some other political party, to muzzle dissent, and a permanent inclination to deceive oneself into thinking that such a temptation does not exist. This is precisely why we have a written Constitution, one that checks those in authority and cautions against the kind of proposal represented here today. In Federalist 51, James Madison, the lead author of our Constitution, anticipated the type of debate in which we're engaged today, and he made clear the folly of a proposal like that found in Senate Joint Resolution 19. If men were angels, no government would be necessary, Madison wrote. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and then, in the next place, oblige it to control itself. A dependence on the people is, no doubt, the primary control on the government, but experience has taught mankind the necessity of auxiliary precautions. One of the most important of these auxiliary precautions is the First Amendment and its protections of the freedom of speech. The proposed amendment would threaten to cripple this protection and thereby irrevocably damage our most precious possession that we have and that we cherish as Americans, our freedom. For these reasons, I urge my colleagues to join me in voting against this proposed amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.